Hi everyone, in this video I'm giving the reason why a lot of intermediate to advanced players, while being good solid players, fail to really get to the high levels that they want to achieve. The main reason that comes to mind, among other things, is that a lot of you just aren't playing enough tournaments. Now I'd even put myself a little bit into this category, intermediate to advanced kind of player, and a lot of my peers, I see them train and play tennis, and they have very big ambitions. They talk about all the things they want to achieve in the sport, where they want to be in 6 months, a year, 2 years, and how they're going to improve and what their goals are. And a lot of these goals are very lofty, and oftentimes they don't come into fruition of where they wanted to achieve. And a lot of them are working very hard on their fitness. They're doing a lot of training, they're hitting a lot of balls and stuff, but a lot of their practices are very repetitive. They spend a lot of time hitting balls back and forth up the middle, getting really comfortable on their forehand and backhand strokes. And you see a lot of players anywhere up to 6 to, or even 5 to 8 UTR level, and they have very solid ground strokes. They're very consistent, great topspin, great power and shape on the ball. And a lot of these players are actually hitting at a high quality enough level to perform on a much higher level to compete with some of the 9s, 10s, and 11 UTRs that they want to be at. But their practices are a little bit repetitive. Tennis is not just about hitting the ball really hard, really cleanly, back and forth up the middle and keeping a rally going. It's about, how do I put pressure on my opponent? How do I respond to different situations, different opponents, and create opportunities for myself? And the best place to learn this is in tournaments. Also in tournaments, it's not just about what level of play you reach. It's not about your 5 best minutes of the practice. It's about how high of a level can you sustain from beginning to end. You'll see a lot of really promising intermediate to advanced players. They're going to have some match against a really great player in a tournament, a player who's currently at the level that they want to achieve to, and they'll play really well against them for 4, 6, even 8 games. But the truth of the matter is they won't be able to sustain that for an entire match. And eventually, either the advanced player will raise their level, or they'll be able to maintain their level just long enough to be able to come away with the victory. And this is another reason why I say tournament play is extremely important and the missing piece for really developing and blossoming it into the truly advanced player that you want to be. I see a lot of good players who are playing 5, 6 days a week, year round. You are in the playing form, you are in the condition you need to be to play in tournaments. Don't constantly be waiting on the perfect form, perfect play, perfect technique to go into the tournament. Try going into a tournament now, see where you're at. You might even learn something about yourself. Not every tournament you play needs to be a championship performance or your best possible level. Don't be afraid to play a tournament and not play your best, because that's how you learn from yourself. If you look at the Division I, collegiate, challenger, and even ATP tour players, they are playing matches throughout the year, January all the way to November, and you don't need to compete for that long. But the best players, they're getting 40 plus matches a year pretty much. And I know that's expensive, but I don't think that's necessarily the reason a lot of people aren't playing more tournaments. But if you ask these advanced players, the match play, the tournament experience, it is extremely crucial to their success on their tennis court. Knowing how to manage their body, knowing how to prepare for a match, knowing how to execute in the closing stages of a match, knowing how to handle the pressure and the negative emotions when you're down in the score. There's so many things that come to the surface in a tournament that you just wouldn't feel or experience during practice. Playing a tournament, that is the best reflection of yourself that you're going to get. In practice, you can very much get a false illusion of where your game is at, because in practice, you're working on the things you like, you're working on the things you enjoy. You might be very familiar with your practice partner. Tournament is completely different. You're often going to be playing someone you don't like, someone that's a bad matchup for you, someone that makes bad calls, someone that yells every time you double fault or make an unforced error. But this is what advanced players are able to do. Sometimes the advanced players, they don't always have better shots. Sometimes they're just mentally stronger. They're more disciplined in tournaments. They're more experienced and strategic in what to do in each situation. And that's something you can really learn only by experience, by putting yourself in these difficult situations that you can't necessarily learn on the practice court. So that's why I really encourage you to play as many tournaments as you can. Don't be super discouraged if the match doesn't go as well as you want, or you don't play the level you want, or even you have a really good match against someone that's a higher level than you, someone you've always wanted to beat, and right at the end you fall just short or they make a bad call. That's progress. That's a step in the right direction. If you look at a lot of the pros and a lot of their big breakouts on the tour, the breakout happened right after a period of struggle, but that's where a lot of tennis players diverge in the trajectories of their career. Every tennis player, like every single tennis player, has faced serious periods of adversity and even periods of regression in their game where they've gotten worse. And some players beat themselves up, they shy away from tennis tournaments, or they try to keep doing the same formula that they've always known or they've always been doing. But there's some players who are willing to talk with their coach or look deeply in at themselves and really try to come to a mental, spiritual, or physical level and bring a new version of themselves to the tournament that they haven't showed before, that they're able to find the things in their game that need to improve to be able to win these matches, and they learn their identity as a player, and they learn the type of points that work best for them. The best tennis players are not the best hitters, like I said earlier. Sometimes the best players are the ones who manage themselves the best and have the truest understanding of what kind of player they are on the court and what their identity is as a player. So please play tournaments. Make sure you're getting plenty of tournaments throughout the year so you're getting these experiences. You're learning what to do in each situation. You're learning where you need to improve at, and who you are as a player. What are your preferred style of points? There's so much you can learn from tournaments that you're just not going to get from practice. If you're playing less than 2 days a week, or 2 or less days a week, less than 6 months a year, I'd say you might want to increase your practice a little bit, because you can't truly get the most out of yourself in the tournaments if you are playing this much. But if you're playing year-round on a consistent weekly basis, and you have a regular hitting partner that you've been playing well with and you feel good in practice with, I encourage yourself to go out and try to get more tournaments, more match play in. Even if they're frustrating or disappointing or expensive, it really is crucial for finding a way to mentally level yourself up to start seeing yourself as a higher quality player, or else get a takeaway of what's stopping you from being a high level player and talking to a coach, talking to an expert, and figuring out what you need to do different. So I'd say if you're playing 10 or less, or even 15 or less matches throughout the year, try to get to 20 matches in a year. Try to get to 25 matches in a year. Think about playing, I don't know what the math is, but there's 52 weeks in a year. Try to think of getting at least 1 to 2 matches or tournaments each, 1 to 2 matches in a week, or maybe a tournament every other week or every 3 weeks. Try to start making the tournament or match play, official match play, not just practice match play, a regular part of your training schedule. You don't always need to be playing the best tennis of your life to play in a tournament. Sometimes you need to learn about how you are as a player even when you're not playing your best, when your shots don't feel as good as they could. So I'd recommend increasing the frequency of the tournaments you play. Try to get matches throughout the week, not just straight up hitting. Try to get match play against different opponents, and the tournaments automatically create the match-specific anxiety and tension and pressure that you'll feel on the tennis court. But if you're not able to do as many tournaments as you want, try to do as much match play as you can where there really is something on the line and you're nervous of losing and you feel the excitement and pressure of winning. Knowing how you're going to react and what kind of tennis you play in these moments, this is something that can really separate the good players from the great players. If you have any other questions or thoughts, please let me know. But that's why I think tournament play is extremely crucial for your experience growth, your mental growth, and your understanding of the game, and that it could be the biggest thing stopping you from getting to that higher level you want. Not that you need to hit more balls or keep doing more of the same practice. You need to adjust your practice, take the lessons you've learned from your tournament, and try to apply them in new matches going forward. Thank you.